Hi Lorraine, it's Ali C here. Firstly, I'm so sorry I can't be with you today for you to receive this award that you truly deserve. I'm hoping by the time you watch this video that I'm in Barney, Scotland. As you know, I'd never worked with Team J7 before. That was before the challenges of COVID hit us. And I rotated on and off Ward J7 many times during the period of April to July. What I saw day in, day out was truly amazing nursing care on your ward under your leadership. I struggle to even now talk about the toughest times that we went through when you were a COVID ward at the height of the pandemic. Every shift you just seemed to be thrown a new challenge. Your staff were often taken pretty unwell themselves. You often had to send staff home to self-isolate. You were dealing with horrendous circumstances such as the volume of older patients that were dying with COVID at a scale we'd never seen before. You also went to having about 12 hours to change from a hot COVID ward to an acute older people's ward again. And you just took that in your stride, and within hours you were coping with new demands on capacity and flow and expediting many discharges again. What I noticed in this period, like no other ward I worked on, to be honest, was a truly embedded focus on compassionate care, not just for the patients that were on the ward, but for their relatives and the care that was there for each team member. One day when it pretty much felt like you were the only person still standing, you just went to the nth degree for every patient. I recollect you were trying to track down some missing teeth that could have been on a number of different wards, and that was your mission, to try and find where these teeth were, because that was important to that patient at that moment in time. But you were also trying to manage complex palliative care discharges. You were sending staff home left, right and centre. You were looking after the sickest of patients, and you were still able to welcome members of staff to the ward that day that we'd managed to borrow from elsewhere. Day in, day out, you just seemed to very calmly carry on. I never ever saw you complaining, frustrated or grumpy. You kept everyone going, to be honest, including me. You care about all your staff so much. You supported them alongside managing your own family and your own personal challenges, as well as those of the team. On the darkest days, Lorraine, we were dealing with so many dying patients on the ward. Your team gave each patient, the care your team gave each patient and their relatives was inspirational. I knew I could tell the relatives that their relative was being looked after as if it was one of their own. And I genuinely knew that and believed that, and I know the relatives I passed that on to could tell that was what was happening on our ward under your care. That gave me great comfort, and I'm sure it did those relatives as well. It would have meant so much to them. As I said, you never ever complained, you just got on with it. Excuse me. You should be so proud of your ward, Lorraine. That is your leadership, your passion and your compassion that shines through. And you continue to do the small things every day for every patient that just makes such a difference. I genuinely loved my time with you on Ward J7 and the team. I felt part of the team. I felt no patient would ever deteriorate because they weren't getting what they needed at that moment in time, despite the challenges we were facing. And your team are on J7, but you are, and you deserve this award. So well done, Lorraine.